All right, here we go. More elimination. Part 2. Whoa. It says substitution up at the top, but we're going to do elimination. We have to cross that off. That should say elimination. Elimination. All right. We are going to eliminate. And in this case, we don't see opposites. We don't see something we can easily just multiply by another number to make an opposite. And it says we're going to eliminate x first, so let's focus on x in this first one. All right, I can't turn a 2 into a 3 very easily. I can't turn a 3 into 2 very easily. So if we run into a situation like this and we need opposites, and in this case they are both positive, 2x and 3x, we are going to multiply each equation by the other coefficient that's in front of the variable. All right, so here we go. So for the first one, I'm going to multiply this first one by a 3 because I want to do the coefficient that's down here. And then the second one, I need it to be negative because the top one is going to be positive 6x. I need it to be negative 6x, so I'm going to multiply by a negative 2. And I'm multiplying by a 2 because that's a 2 there. Okay, so I'm just going to multiply the equation by the coefficient on the x that's in the other equation. All right, so we've got a lot of work to do here. So let's see, where should I put these? I'm going to put them right down underneath. So the first one, I'm going to say, all right, the first one is 6x plus 15y. Oh, 3 times 43, that's 129. All right, and the second equation I'm multiplying by a negative 2. So this becomes negative 6x. Ooh, negative times negative plus 4y. And another negative times a negative is plus 4. So I chose to do the bottom equation by the negative number because it eliminated a bunch of negative numbers for me. Now that's something that you may or may not see. If you see it, that's great. If you don't, that's okay too. All right, so I'm going to add these two equations together because I now have opposites. So the x's are going to be eliminated. 15 plus 4 is 19, so I have 19y. 129 plus 4 is 133. Well, now we have to divide 133 by 19. I'm going to guess that it might be the number 7. And I think I'm right. You can check with a calculator though, but I'm pretty sure it's 7. Okay, so y is 7. Whoops. Then what we need to do is go back up like we have in the past, and we get to pick one of those two equations and we get to plug in that 7. I'm going to pick the top one because it's all positive. 2x plus 5, I'm going to just go ahead and plug in the 7 now, equals 43. Okay, so simplify that. 5 times 7 is 35, and then just bring down everything else. Okay, then we're going to subtract that 35. So 2x equals, well, that ends up being 8. Divide by 2, x is 4. All right, so I'm pretty confident in myself that I think my answer is 4, 7. But I'm going to check. Since I plugged it into the first equation, I'm going to plug everything into the second one. So I have 3 times 4 minus 2 times 7 equals negative 2. Okay, so the 4, replace the x, and the 7, come on, 7, there you go, 7, replace the y. Everything else is the same, 3 minus 2 minus 2. Okay, so we have 12 minus 14 equals negative 2. Well, 12 minus 14 is negative 2. So that makes sense. So it checks off. So I know this is correct. It's a good answer. All right, here we go. Next one. Very similar. We're going to eliminate the x. This one's kind of nice for eliminating the x because one's positive, one's negative. That means all I have to do is multiply the first equation by 5, the second equation by 4. So this time I've multiplied by both positive numbers because one was already negative. Okay, so I end up with the first equation becomes 20x plus 15y equals 70. The second equation becomes negative 20x plus 8y equals 160. Now we have opposites, and when we add them together, the 20x's disappear. So we end up with 15 plus 8, 23y equals 230. Ooh, this one's not too bad to divide in your head if you can do it. Anything with a 0 after it, you're dividing by the same two numbers, it's going to become a 10. 23, divide by 23, so y is 10. Ooh, I like 10, because 10 to me is an easy number to multiply by. So I'm going to be smart about it. I'm going to pick the top equation because it's all positive. 4x plus 3y equals 14. Plug in that 10 for y. If I'm going too fast, you can always pause the video so you can catch up. Sometimes I'll take a little break, slow down. So 3 times 10 is 30. Bring down everything else. Subtract that 30. So 4x equals negative 16. And then we just divide by 4. A negative divided by a positive is negative, so we have negative 4. All right, I've got space, so I'm going to check my work. Sorry, I grabbed a little sip of my coffee there. In the morning, got to drink coffee. All right, so I'm thinking my answer is negative 410. And so since I chose the first one, I'm going to plug it into the second one. So we have negative 5 times negative 4. That's my x value, right? Plus 2 times 10, that's my y value, equals 40. Okay, so this one there, this one there, because x and y, right? All right, so negative times negative is positive. So we have 20 plus 20 equals 40. Well, that's not too bad. You got two $20 bills. How much money do you have? 40 bucks. So 40 equals 40. So we can check that off. So we know this is right. All right, here we go. 1. Just 1. So you have 1 to do on your own. And when you are done with that, restart the video and I'll show you a couple more examples. It says to eliminate the x first here. So figure out what you need to do to eliminate the x. All right, more examples. This time we're going to eliminate the y's. And y's sometimes seem to be more difficult to eliminate because they're buried in the middle of the equation, but you know what? We'll figure it out. All right, this one starts off with a nice one because the y in the first term is a positive 7. First equation, I should say, positive 7. And the y in the second equation is a negative 3. So that means all I have to do is multiply each equation by the other equation's number. So the first one I'm going to multiply by 3. The second one I'm going to multiply by 7. One's already negative, so that's a good thing. So when I distribute that 3 to everything in the top, I get 12x plus 21y equals 75. And then in the bottom, well, I got a whole bunch of negatives. Negative 14x minus 21y. Ooh, that's good. I see opposites. Equals negative 77. All right, so this is a messy looking one because I'm adding a bunch of negative numbers, and that's no fun. When we're adding negatives, though, we can always say I'm subtracting, right? So 12 minus 14, negative 2x. Subtract 21 from 21, and it goes away. Subtract 77 from 75, and we get -2. And then all I have to do is divide by -2. So x equals 1. All right, x is 1. Ooh, 1 is a great number because it's easy to multiply by 1. So I'm going to plug it into that first equation. My fingers don't work always. So 4x plus 7y equals 25. Plug in the 1. 4 times 1. Remember, it's an x, so it goes where? It goes where the x is. Okay, so 4 times 1 is 4. Well, that wasn't that bad. Plus 7y equals 25. Okay, so then I want to subtract that 4. So 7y equals 21. Divide by 7. Y is 3. All right, so I think it's 1, 3. But I'm going to check by plugging it into that bottom equation. -2x minus 3y equals -11. Oh, man, lots of negatives here. I don't like that negative sign, so I'm going to change it. There we go. All right, so I'm going to plug in a 1 and a 3. So the 1 goes here. The 3 goes there. So we have -2 times 1 minus 3 times 3 equals -11. Okay, that first term is still going to be negative, -2. The second one's going to be a negative or a -9. And then they're both negative, or -2, or -2 minus 9 is -11. -11 does equal -11 most days, so I know I have the right answer right here. All right, one more. We're going to eliminate that y first. Ooh, they're both negative. That just means we got to multiply 1 by a negative number, 1 by a positive number. And it doesn't really matter which one. However, I'm going to multiply the bottom number by a -1. Negative number, that is. And the top one by the positive. Okay, so I'm basing it off of that right there and that right there, right? So I'm going to go with a -5 down on the bottom, +3 on the top. I just am. So we have, if we distribute in the top, we have 9x minus 15y equals, 171. You might need a calculator for that. 57 times 3. Okay, and then the bottom one, we're multiplying by a -5. So we get -10x. Yeah, either way, we would have had negatives there. So then we have positive 15y. That's good. And then we have -175. Oof, lots of big negative numbers, positive numbers. But we see opposites. And when we add these two equations together, 9x minus 10x is -1x. The opposites cancel. And then 171 minus 175 seems like crazy big numbers, but it ends up being -4. And then we just divide by -1. So we get x is 4, +4, because they're both negative. Whoops. Come on, there we go. All right, now as to whether to choose the top one or the bottom one, I kind of like the bottom one better because it's got smaller numbers. 2x minus 3y equals 35. I have an x is equal to 4, so I'm going to plug it in for the x. Okay, so I have 8 minus 3y equals 35. Oh, 8 minus 3y. This is one where people tend to forget something, but I'm just going to subtract the 8. And when I subtract the 8, it goes away. And this is what people forget. They forget to bring down the minus sign with that 3y. Don't forget it. 35 minus 8 is 27. And then we divide by -3. So y is -9. All right, so I think it's 4, -9. I'm going to know for sure when I plug it into this. 3x minus 5y equals 57. That's the one I didn't use to find y, so I'm going to plug both numbers into that. So again, this one goes there, this one goes there. So we have 3 times 4 minus 5 times -9. Oof, negatives. Let's stay positive, people. All right, so we have 12. Negative times negative is positive. Hey, we're staying positive. Whoops, wrote the wrong number. 57. And then 12 plus 45 is 57. And we know 57 equals 57, so we've got a good answer up here. All right. Here you go. You got one to do to eliminate the y. So figure out what you need to do to eliminate the y. I see something that's already helpful. One's positive and one's negative. So you don't have to multiply by a negative number. All right. When you get the second one figured out, you got to enter both of these answers in Schoology. So make sure you do that.